प्रवर्ततात् सन्नः पर्षतति दुर्गानि विश्वा क्षामध्येवो अतिदुरिताति यज्ञिः प्रत्नोषि कमेध्वो अध्वरेषु सनाच होता नव्यस्वसस्ति स्वाञ्चा आग्ने तनुवं पिप्रयस्व स्मभ्यं शसो भगवाय जस्व घोभिर्जुष्टमयिजो निशित्कन्त्रवे इन्द्र विष्णु अनुसञ्चरेम नाकस्य पृष्णमभि संवसानो वैष्णवी लोक इह मादयन्ताम् ॐ कात्यायनाय विद्महे कन्याकुमारी धीमहि तन्नो दुर्गे प्रचोदयात् ॐ हिरण्यवर्णां हरिणीं सुवर्णरजतस्यजां चन्द्रां हिरण्यमीं लक्ष्मी जातवेदो मावः तां मा आवह जातवेदो लक्ष्मीमनपगामिनीं यस्यां हिरण्यं विन्धेयं हामक्ष्वं पुरुषानहम् अश्वपूर्णामृतमध्याम् अस्तीर्णा आधप्रमोदिनीं श्रियं देवीमुपह्वये शिर्मां देवी जुषतां कां स्वस्मितां हिरण्यप्राकारां माद्रां ज्वलन्तीं तृप्तां तर्पयन्तीं पद्मे स्थितां पद्मवर्णां तामिहोपह्वये श्रियम् चन्द्रां प्रभासां यशसा ज्वलन्तीं श्रियं लोके देवजुष्टामुदारां तां पद्मिनीं शरणमहं प्रपद्ये अलक्ष्मीर्मे नश्यता त्वां वृणे आदित्यवर्णे तपसोऽधिजातो वनस्तपतिस्तपवृक्षो तभिल्वः तस्य फलानि तपसा निधन्तु मायान्तरायाश्च बाह्याम् अलक्ष्मीः उपेत्तु मां देवसखः कीर्तिश्च मुनिना सह प्रादुर्भूतो अस्मि रास्तेऽस्मिन् कीर्तिमिदं ददातु मे श्रुतिपासामलां ज्येष्ठामलक्ष्मीनाशयाम्यहम् अभूतम् अस्मृधं च सर्वा निर्गृमे गृहात् गन्धद्वारां दुरादर्शां नित्यपूष्णां किरीशिनीम् ईश्वरी gwam सर्वभूतानां तामिहोपह्वये श्रियं मनसः काममाकूतिं वाचः सत्यमशीमहि पशूनां रूपमन्त्रस्य मयि शीशयतां यशः कर्दमेन प्रजाभूता मयि सम्भव कर्दमं श्रियं वास्य मे कुले मातरं पद्ममालिनीम् आपः सुजन्तु स्निग्धानि चिक्ली तव समे गृहे निच देवी मातरं श्रियं वास्य मे कुले आद्रा पुष्करणीं पुष्टिं पिङ्गला पद्ममालिनीं चन्द्रां हिरण्यमीं लक्ष्मी जातवेदो मावः आद्रां यः करणीं यष्टिं सुवर्णा हेममालिनीं सूर्यां हिरण्यमीं लक्ष्मी जातवेदो मावः तां मावः जातवेदो लक्ष्मीमनपगामिनीं यस्यां हिरण्यं प्रभूतं गावो दास्रौ श्वान् विन्देयं पुरुषानहम् प्रयतो भूत्वा जुहुया आदाजवन्महं सूक्तं पञ्चदर्शः श्रीकामः सततं जपेत् ॐ यश्चन्दसा वृषभो विश्वरूपः चन्द्रोऽभ्योऽधमृता सम्बभूव समीन्द्रो मेधया स्पृणोतु अमृतस्य देवाधारणो भूयासं शरीरं मे विचर्षणं जिह्वा मे मधुमर्तम कर्णाभ्यां भूमिविक्षुवं ब्रह्मणः कोशोऽसि मेधया पीतः श्रुतं मे गोपाय ॐ शान्तिः 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 ॐ मेधा देवी जुषमाना न आगाद्विस्वाची भद्रा सुमनस्यमाना त्वया जुष्टा दुदुमाना दुरुक्तान् बृहद्ददें विरते सुवीराः त्वया जुष्टिरुचिर्भवति देवी त्वया ब्रह्मा गतक्षीरुत्वया त्वया जुश्रुत्रं विन्दते वससानो जुषस्रुधवनो न मेधे मेधाम इन्द्रो ददातु मेधां देवी सरस्वती मेधा मे अश्वना भुवाबादतां पुष्करस्रज अप्सुरासु च या मेधा गन्धर्वेषु च यन्मनः देवी मेधा सरस्वती सामा मेधासिर्भिर्जुषता स्वाहा आमाधासिर्भिर्विश्वरूपा हिरण्यवर्णां जगति जगम्य ऊर्जस्वती पेसा पिन्वमाना सामा मेधा सुप्रीतिका जुषन्तां मयि मेधा मयि प्रजा मयि अग्निस्तेजो ददातु मयि मेधा मयि प्रजा मयि इन्द्रियं ददातु मयि मेधा मयि प्रजा मयि सूर्यो भ्राजो ददातु ॐ हंसाय विद्महे परमहंसाय धीमहि तन्नो हंस प्रचोदयात्। देवी प्रवक्ष्यामि कुञ्जिका स्तोत्रमुत्तमं येन मन्त्रप्रभावेन चण्डीजापा शुभो भवेत्। न कवचं नर्गला स्तोत्रं कीलकं न हरस्यकं न सूक्तं नापि ध्यानं च न न्यासो न च वर्चनं कुञ्जिकापातमात्रेण दुर्गापातफलं लभेत्। अतिगुह्यतरयं देवी देवानामपि दुर्लभं गोपनीयं प्रयत्येन स्वयोनिर्वपार्वती माहरणं मोहनं वश्य स्तम्भनोचार्तनाधिकं पातमात्रेण संसिद्धयेत् कुञ्जिका स्तोत्रमुत्तमम् अथ मन्त्रः ॐ ह्रीं क्लीं चामुण्डाय विच्चे ॐ ग्लां हुं क्लीं जुं सः ज्वाले ज्वाले ज्वल ज्वल प्रज्वल प्रज्वल ऐं ह्रीं क्लीं चामुण्डाय विच्चे ज्वल हं सं लं क्षं फट् स्वाहा इति मन्त्रः। नमस्ते रुद्ररूपिण्ये नमस्ते मधुमर्दिने नमः केतवहारिण्ये नमस्ते चार्दिने नमस्ते शुम्भहन्त्रीश्च निशुम्भासुरगातिनि जागृतं हि महादेवी जपं सिद्ध्यं कुरुष्व मे हेमकारी शुष्टरूपाय हिमकाली प्रतिपालका क्लींकारी कामरूपिण्ये बीजरूपे नमोऽस्तुते चामुण्डचङ्गधातीश्च यङ्कारी वरदायिनी विच्चे चाभयदा नित्यं नमस्ते मन्त्ररूपिणीं धां धिं धुं दुर्जगे पत्नीं वां विं वुं वागरीश्वरी क्रां क्रीं क्रूं कालिका देवी शां शिं शुं मे शुभं कुरु हुं हुं हुंकाररूपिण्ये झं 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 बनादिने भ्रां ब्रीं भ्रूं भैरवी भद्रे भवान्येते नमो नमः। ॐ अं कं शं तं तं पं यं शं विं धुं ऐं विं हं क्षं दिग्जाग्रहं स्तोत्रे स्तोत्रे दीप्तं कुरु कुरु स्वाहा। पार्वती पूर्णं खां किं कुं खेचरी तथा सां सिं सुं सप्तशिदी दिव्ये मन्त्रसिद्ध्यं कुरुष्व मे इदं तु कुञ्जिका स्तोत्रं मन्तजाकार्तिहेतवे अभक्तेनेव दातव्यं गोपितं रक्ष पार्वती यस्तु कुञ्जिकया देवी हीनां सप्तशतीपते ततस्ये जायते सिद्धेरन्ये रोधनं यथा इति श्रीरुद्रयामले गौरीतन्त्रे शिवपार्वती संवादे कुञ्जिका स्तोत्रं सम्पूर्णम्। जय 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 जय।
सजाऊंगी, धूप जलाऊंगी, दीप सजाऊंगी, आओ सतरंगी चुनरी उड़ाऊंगी, आओ सतरंगी चुनरी उड़ाऊंगी, आओ पुकारूंगी माँ, ओ माँ, ओ माँ, आओ पुकारूंगी मैया लागे गंगा जल से पानी, आओ मेरे अंगना दुर्गा भवानी, आओ मेरे अंगना दुर्गा भवानी, दुर्गा भवानी माँ दुर्गा भवानी, दुर्गा भवानी माँ दुर्गा भवानी, आओ मेरे अंगना दुर्गा भवानी। लौंग इलायची का बेल खिलाऊंगी, लौंग इलायची का बेल खिलाऊंगी, मैया तुन्ने चबदा दुलाऊंगी, मैया तुन्ने चबदा दुलाऊंगी, तुमको रिझाऊंगी माँ, ओ माँ, ओ माँ, तुमको रिझाऊंगी मैया मोरी हो जग कल्याणी, आओ मेरे अंगना दुर्गा भवानी, आओ मेरे अंगना दुर्गा भवानी, दुर्गा भवानी माँ दुर्गा भवानी, दुर्गा भवानी माँ दुर्गा भवानी, आओ मेरे अंगना दुर्गा भवानी, आओ मेरे अंगना दुर्गा भवानी, आओ मेरे अंगना दुर्गा भवानी। जय 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 दुर्गे मैया, जय 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 अम्बे भवानी, जय 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 दुर्गे मैया, जय 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 अम्बे भवानी। शेरों वाली मैया जोता वाली, शेरों
बोलो श्री जगदम्बिका दुर्गा माता की जय. Let us now all join together in some prarthana, some prayers before we delve into our satsang today. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Gajananam Bhutganadisevitam Kapitjambo Phalacharubhakshanam Umasutam Shokavinashakarakam Namami Vigneshwara Padapankajam. Om Saraswati Namastubhyam Varde Kamarupinim Vidyarambam Karishyami Siddhir Bhavatu Me Sara. Kararvinde Napadarvindam Mukharvinde Viniveshayantram Vatasya patrasya puteshayanam Balam mukunda manasa smarami Shri Krishna Govinda Hare Murari He Nath Narayana Vasudeva Shri Krishna Govinda Hare He Nath Narayana Vasudeva Lokabhiramam Ranarangadhiram Rajivanetram Raghuvanshanatham Karunyarupam Karunakarantam Sri Ramachandram Manasa Smarami. Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Rama. 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 Om Manojavam Marutatulya Vegam Jitendriyam Buddhimatam Varishtam Vatatmajam Vanurayutha Mukyam Shri Ramadutam Sharanam Prapadye. Vande Devam Umapatim Suragurum Vande Jagat Karanam Vande Pannagabhushanam Mrigadaram Vande Pashunapatim Vande Surya Shashanka Vahenayanam Vande Mukunda Priyam Vande Bhakta Janasrayam Chavardam Vande Shivam Shankaram. Sarvamangalamangallye Shive Sarvartha Sadike Sharanye Trayambake Gauri Narayani Namostute. Om Namaschandikaye Om Namaschandikaye Om Namaschandikaye. बोलो श्री दुर्गा माता की जय. ओम नमो दिव्ये महादिव्ये शिवाय सततं नमः. नमः प्रकृत्य भद्राय नियताः प्रणताः स्मतां. रौद्राय नमो नित्याय गौरे धात्रे नमो नमः. ज्योत्स्नाय चिन्दूरूपिण्ये सुखाय सततं नमः. कल्याणे प्रणतां वृद्धि सिद्धि कुर्मो नमो नमः. नैऋत्ये भूभृतां लक्ष्मे शर्वाणि ते नमो नमः। दुर्गाय दुर्गपाराय साराय सर्वकारिण्ये ख्याते तथैव कृष्णाय धूम्राय सततं नमः। अतिसौम्यातिरौद्राय नतास्तस्यै नमो नमः। नमो जगत्प्रतिष्ठाय दिव्ये कृत्ये नमो नमः। या देवी सर्वभूतेषु विष्णुमाइति शब्दिता नमस्तस्यै 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 नमो नमः। नमस्तस्यै नमो नमः। या देवी सर्वभूतेषु चेतनेत्याभिधीयते नमस्तस्यै 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 नमो नमः।
नमस्तस्यै नमो नमः।
या देवी सर्वभूतेषु बुद्धिरूपेण संस्थिता नमस्तस्यै 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 नमो नमः।
नमस्तस्यै नमो नमः।
या देवी सर्वभूतेषु निद्रारूपेण संस्थिता नमस्तस्यै 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 नमो नमः।
नमस्तस्यै नमो नमः।
या देवी सर्वभूतेषु क्षुद्धारूपेण संस्थिता नमस्तस्यै 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 नमो नमः।
नमस्तस्यै नमो नमः।
या देवी सर्वभूतेषु छायारूपेण संस्थिता नमस्तस्यै 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 नमो नमः।
नमस्तस्यै नमो नमः।
या देवी सर्वभूतेषु शक्तिरूपेण संस्थिता नमस्तस्यै 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 नमो नमः।
नमस्तस्यै नमो नमः।
या देवी सर्वभूतेषु कृष्णरूपेण संस्थिता नमस्तस्यै 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 नमो नमः।
नमस्तस्यै नमो नमः।
या देवी सर्वभूतेषु क्षान्तिरूपेण संस्थिता नमस्तस्यै 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 नमो नमः।
नमस्तस्यै नमो नमः।
या देवी सर्वभूतेषु जातिरूपेण संस्थिता नमस्तस्यै 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 नमो नमः।
नमस्तस्यै नमो नमः।
या देवी सर्वभूतेषु लज्जारूपेण संस्थिता नमस्तस्यै 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 नमो नमः।
नमस्तस्यै नमो नमः।
या देवी सर्वभूतेषु शान्तिरूपेण संस्थिता नमस्तस्यै 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 नमो नमः।
नमस्तस्यै नमो नमः।
या देवी सर्वभूतेषु श्रद्धारूपेण संस्थिता नमस्तस्यै 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 नमो नमः।
नमस्तस्यै नमो नमः।
या देवी सर्वभूतेषु कान्तिरूपेण संस्थिता नमस्तस्यै 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 नमो नमः।
नमस्तस्यै नमो नमः।
या देवी सर्वभूतेषु लक्ष्मीरूपेण संस्थिता नमस्तस्यै 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 नमो नमः।
नमस्तस्यै नमो नमः।
या देवी सर्वभूतेषु वृत्तिरूपेण संस्थिता नमस्तस्यै 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 नमो नमः।
नमस्तस्यै नमो नमः।
या देवी सर्वभूतेषु स्मृतिरूपेण संस्थिता नमस्तस्यै 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 नमो नमः।
नमस्तस्यै नमो नमः।
या देवी सर्वभूतेषु दयारूपेण संस्थिता नमस्तस्यै 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 नमो नमः।
नमस्तस्यै नमो नमः।
या देवी सर्वभूतेषु तुष्टिरूपेण संस्थिता नमस्तस्यै 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 नमो नमः
नमस्तस्यै नमो नमः
या देवी सर्वभूतेषु मातृरूपेण संस्थिता नमस्तस्यै 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 नमो नमः
नमस्तस्यै नमो नमः
या देवी सर्वभूतेषु भ्रान्तिरूपेण संस्थिता नमस्तस्यै 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 नमो नमः
नमस्तस्यै नमो नमः
इन्द्रियाणामधिष्ठात्री भूतानां चाकुलेश्वय भूतेषु सततं तस्यै व्याप्तिदिव्यै नमो नमः चित्तिरूपेण या कृत्स्नमेतद्व्याप्य स्थितः जगत् नमस्तस्यै 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 नमो नमः नमस्तस्यै नमो नमः नमस्तस्यै 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 नमो नमः
नमस्तस्यै 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 नमो नमः
नमस्तस्यै 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 नमो नमः
नमस्तस्यै नमस्तस्यै
नमस्तस्यै नमो नमः नमस्तस्यै 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 नमो नमः नमस्तस्यै 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 नमो नमः नमस्तस्यै 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 नमो नमः नमस्तस्यै 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 नमो नमः 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 प्रेम से बोलो श्री दुर्गा माता की जय। Adi Shankaracharya, he once chanted this very beautiful stotram. It's something we read all the time in this temple, in this mandir, because of the importance it has, because of the meaning behind these words, and because, of course, this is a Shiva Bhakta temple. This is a temple of Shankar Bhagwan and, of course, Bhavani. What is the chanting? Manobodh hamkar चेतानि नाहं न च श्रोत्र जिह्वे न च घ्राणनेत्रे न च व्योम भूमिर् न तेजो न वायो चिदानन्दरूप शिवोऽहं शिवोऽहं चिदानन्दरूप Shivoham, Shivoham. The beautiful chanting says, I am not the mind, I am not the ego nor the memory, I am not the intellect, I am not the ears, the skin, nor the nose or the eyes. I am not the space, I am not the earth, I am not the fire, water, nor wind. But what am I? I am the form of consciousness, Chidananda Rupa Shivoham Shivoham. I am Bhagwan Shiva. I am Shivji. I am that form of auspiciousness that we worship. When we say this, it is not to have any ego about ourselves. It is not to make ourselves feel bigger than what we are. It is not something that we can use to be superior to others, but rather it's a recognition that we ourselves, that our jiva, that our souls are one and the same with Bhagwan. And that recognition of that is very beautiful because it comes with a responsibility as well. Once we consider ourselves the same as God, then we should be, of course, godly. Once we are the same as God, once we are God, then we should be bound by His rules. We should be compassionate. and kind. We should help others in their need. We should have all of the forms that we chanted just now as Ma Durga has. We should take form of all of these good things in order to help those around us, because once we identify ourselves as God, then we have to play the role as well. That's how beautiful this chanting is. But this first line says, I am not the mind, I am not the intellect, I am not the ego, and I'm not the memory. This intellect that it speaks of, mano buddhya, buddha. The intellect of ours is a very powerful thing. It allows us to come to this term. It allows us to come to this conclusion that if we are Bhagavan, then we must act accordingly. This Buddha, this intellect, buddhi, intelligence, can lead us to this pathway of good. But how do we get to it? How do we get to that path of enlightenment? And how do we get to that path of intellect? I was wondering the other day about this topic when I came across a question that was very, very important. And the question is, have you ever noticed that there is one thing that can lead you to enlightenment and also lead you to insanity? There is something in this life that can lead us onto the path of good, but also lead us to become crazy. That thing is called solitude. When we are alone, we can become enlightened. And once we are alone as well, we can become crazy. There are many people who have faced this consequence of being with themselves. So have you noticed the difference here? Being alone with yourself in dhyanam, in meditation, it can bring good qualities to you. It can lead you to become closer to God, to become enlightened. There are many, many sages and saints who have found moksha by doing this, or who have become more enlightened on their path by constantly reflecting in dhyanam, in meditation. They become wise, they become detached, they're on a better path in life. But on the other hand, there are others where being with yourself can lead you to become less wise. It can lead you to become insane or crazy. It often happens to prisoners. Once they do something bad, they get thrown into solitude. That's the name for it. Where they're left by themselves without any access to anything, without any access to anyone, for days at a time possibly. If you watch these shows documenting prison, you'll see all of this happening. I don't know it firsthand. Well, why does this happen? And what does it mean to be by yourself? We can say, if you're by yourself in solitude, you can become enlightened or you can become insane. But what does it mean to be by yourself or with yourself? Bhagavan Shri Krishna, he explains in the Bhagavad Gita. Let us see what he says. Shri Krishna Govinda Hare Murari Nath Narayan Vasudeva. Shri Krishna Govinda Hare Murari Nath Narayan Vasudeva. Shri Krishna Govinda Hare Murari Nath Narayan Vasudeva.
Krishna Govinda Hare Murari Nath Narayan Vasudeva.
Uddharetatmanatmanam natmanam avasadayet Atmeva hyatmano bandhuratmeva rupuratmana. Shri Krishna Govinda Narayan Vasudeva, He Nath Narayan Vasudeva, He Nath Narayan Vasudeva. Bhagavan Shri Krishna, chapter 6, verse 5. This is a very popular verse. When we say by ourself or by with yourself, we mean that in solitude your soul is with your mind. He says in this verse, the conditioned being must be delivered from this nature, this material nature, by the realized mind. These souls must not become degraded, since this very mind is the friend of the conditioned being as well as the enemy of that being. Bhagavan Shri Krishna says that this mind of ours is or can be our friend, or it can be our worst enemy. I think in doing like a quick search of this, I have seen that this is only a Hindu teaching, that you will not find this lesson anywhere else. The mind of ours can be our best friend or our worst enemy. This is a very popular verse, of course. It tells us that the mind is neither good nor the mind is not bad, nor is the mind bad. But the mind is something to be conquered. In the same way that we have to hold on, if you're washing your car, you have to hold on to the pressure hose to control where the water will be sprayed. In the same way that you cleanse the car with direction of using the hose in a certain direction, you have to do the same to your mind. You have to hold on to it. You have to aim it. You have to understand that if you let go, the pressure will take it away. Your mind will be on this side and that side. It will not be something that you can control very easy once you let go of that control. And so you have to hold on to it and conquer it in order to lead it into the direction that you want, in order for it to achieve the object that you're trying to achieve, to conduct the task that you would like to complete. We have to do the same thing with our mind, otherwise it is everywhere. If we do not control our mind, of course, then our mind in return controls us. And then we have craziness. Those that are in solitude, those that are by themselves, they are left alone with the mind. And then a battle occurs between the soul that they have and the mind. And this battle, it is said, there are two lions in us. This is a very popular analogy as well. And we have to figure out which of these lions will win this fight. The answer is the one that you feed the most. If you feed the good within you, the good lion will win. If you feed the bad within you, then the bad lion will win, the one that you do not want. In the same way, if you do not actively try to control this within you, then the mind becomes more powerful than yourself, than the self itself, than the soul. But if you feed the soul and you give the direction to the soul to hold on to the mind, then the mind can be controlled. Those that are in solitude, they probably do not understand this. Those that are left alone, they do not even try to understand this. Yet, they're left thinking constantly, instead of using that time to do what it's supposed to be. Instead of using that time of solitude to truly learn about yourself and the mind, and to conquer that. You see, we have distractions all around us. Almost every second, I want to pick up my phone. When there's a lapse in the conversation with someone, my hand immediately reaches into my pocket to try to pull out my phone. When my computer is too slow at work and it's loading, I reach into my pocket to try to pull out my phone. There's nothing else to do but sit and stare at a computer. I do not want to be left with my mind. I'm sure this is the same for many of you. It is too easy to be distracted by other things than to be left alone with our mind, and that's because we have not conquered the mind yet. And so we're constantly distracted. The mind is in control, pulling us here and there. It's pulling us all around to whatever it would like to do. Sri Krishna explains in the verse after this, chapter 6, verse 6. He says that those who have conquered their mind, it becomes their best friend. But those whose mind have conquered them, the mind becomes their worst enemy. And all of us have to learn this mind control. There was once a sadhu who every Ekadashi he performed this fast. He did not eat, and he visited the same spot every day. He sat underneath a tree and he began to meditate. He did not eat anything for the entire day until evening. Nearby there was a monkey, and the monkey noticed the sadhu. Every month was coming by and performing this vrat, and the monkey became curious. One day on Ekadashi, the monkey came closer, and the sadhu began to tell the monkey, since you're curious about what I'm doing, I'm performing vrat, means you cannot eat. Sit here with me and we'll do it together. The monkey listened to the sadhu. He says, I want to do this vrat as well. Monkey see, monkey do. The monkey sat down but said, I'm not allowed to eat anything, but I do not like this tree that we're under, this banyan tree. I'm gonna go sit next to the banana tree nearby. That's where I normally play. And so the monkey sits underneath the banana tree. He says, I'm not allowed to eat the bananas, but I can sit near it. The monkey sits under the banana tree. And he says to himself, I'm not allowed to eat. This is the vrat. But the sadhus never said that I cannot climb the tree. The monkey began to climb the tree. The monkey then, he says, I cannot eat the bananas, but the sadhu never said I cannot hold it in my hand. So he picks the bananas and he holds them. And he said, I'm not supposed to eat it, but I can smell the bananas. It smells ripe. And when the monkey smelled the bananas, the food that he was supposed to abstain from, he became so hungry that he opened the banana and he ate it. And he broke his fast. He could not control his mind. He could not control anything. And so he began to give up to his indriyas, to all his senses. He tried to suppress his senses instead of control his senses. This is a lesson I saw online, that instead of controlling what we're supposed to do is control our senses, we try to suppress them. We try to make sure that they do not come out, but this rarely works. We have to grab control of our senses and put them in check, so to speak. And so the monkey, not being able to control this, has lost his mind. Maybe this is where monkey brain comes from, I'm not sure. To achieve this level of control, we have to start little by little. We cannot achieve full control just like this. We can't do what Gurji does, Panahardat, in his fasting. He's on another level. We have to start small. And then we can achieve little by little to get up to the level of vrat, the level of fasting that we would like to be at. During this holiday season, I'm sure many of us are not going to be alone. We're not going to be in solitude. But if this statement is not true for you, for anyone listening, then please actively look to surround yourself with those that love you and those that you love, people that are good. Because we might find our souls in solitude. We can conquer our mind in solitude, but when we're with people, when we are with people that we love, that's when we find our hearts. You like that one? That's a quote by Suraj. We can find our souls in solitude, but to find our hearts, we have to be with those we love. Bol Shri Durga Mata Ki Jai. Please join with me in this beautiful bhajan dedicated to Mata Durga. Jai Narayani, Jai Jai Durge, Jai Jai Ambe, Namo Namah. Jai Narayani, Jai Jai Durge, Jai Jai Ambe, Namo Namah. Jai Narayani, Jai Jai Durge, Jai Jai Ambe, Namo Namah. तेरा पावन सिमरन करके अंतर में सुख भर आता। तेरा पावन सिमरन करके अंतर में सुख भर आता। रोम रोम में प्रेम तिहारा बन के भक्ति बिखर जाता। जय कल्याणी, जय जय दुर्गे, जय जय अम्बे, नमो नमः। जय नारायणी, जय जय दुर्गे, जय जय अम्बे, नमो नमः। मन अंतर में मंत्र बनो तुम, जीवन के गुंजारो ना। मन अंतर में मंत्र बनो तुम, जीवन के गुंजारो ना। जन्म जन्म के संतापों को तेज से अपने जला दो ना। जय रुद्राणी, जय जय दुर्गे, जय जय अम्बे, नमो नमः। जय नारायणी, जय जय दुर्गे, जय जय अम्बे, नमो नमः। जय नारायणी, जय जय दुर्गे, जय जय अम्बे, नमो नमः। जय जय अम्बे, नमो नमः। जय जय अम्बे, नमो नमः। प्रेम से बोलो उमापति महादेव की जय। जगदम्बिका दुर्गा माता की जय. Thank you for joining with us, everyone. Jai Matari. Please, let's now all stand for Aarti. Om Yani Kani Cha Papani Janamantara Kritani Cha Tani Sarvani Nashyantu Pradakshina Pare Pare.
Om Jai Ambe Gauri, Maiya Jai Shama Gauri. Jai Ambe Gauri, Maiya Jai Shama Gauri. तुमको निश दिन ध्यावत, मैया जी को निश दिन ध्यावत। हरि ब्रह्मा शिव जी, ओम जय अम्बे गौरी। मैया जय श्यामा गौरी।
भुजगशयनं पद्मनाभं सुरेशं विश्वाधारं गगनसदृशं मेघवर्णं शुभाङ्गं लक्ष्मीकान्तं कमलनयनं योगिभिर्ध्यानगम्यं वन्दे विष्णु भवभयहरं सर्वलोकैकनाथं सर्वमङ्गलमाङ्गल्ये शिवे सर्वार्थसाधिके शरण्ये त्र्यम्बके गौरी नारायणी नमोऽस्तुते नमस्ते सते ते जगत्कारणाय नमस्ते चित्ते सर्वलोकाश्रयाय नमो द्वैततत्त्वाय मुक्तिप्रदाय नमो ब्रह्मणे व्यापिने शाश्वताय त्वमेव माता च पिता त्वमेव बन्धुश्च सखा त्वमेव विद्याद्रविणं त्वमेव सर्वं मम देवदेव। ॐ गुरुब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुदेवो महेश्वर गुरुसाक्षात् परब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः हरिः ॐ। बोले उमापति महादेव की जय, पवन सुत हनुमान की जय, सिया भज रामचंद्र की जय, श्री दुर्गा माता की जय, सत्य सनातन धर्म की जय। सबको जय जय सीताराम, जय माता दी, जय सीताराम एवरीवन, हैव अ ग्रेट नाइट।